I did everything right and they indicted me.
The banana republic without the banana.
He looks good, and he looks hard.
All right. Well, I hope everybody's having a fantastic night so far. We're going to get to it very quickly. Just give me a couple more minutes. Good to see you, Mono. Good to see you. You're first.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
I did everything right and they indicted me.
He looks good, and he looks hard. He looks good, and he looks hard.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
Well, I think it's about time for us to get started here. Well, I hope everybody's having a fantastic night so far. Got a lot of stuff to cover, but hopefully we'll get to everything that we want to. But as you know, sometimes that is not how it goes. However, I have faith in us. I think we can get it done. If you're just tuning in, welcome back. Okay, we'll start the day with a poem. Another poem, I think, is the plan.
Are losing theirs and blaming it on you. B. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good, don't look too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can hear the truth you've spoken twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life for broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at the beginning, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are done, and so hold on when there is nothing in except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 40 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
Okay. That was our daily poetry reading. one thing I wanted to do before we get down to business, thanks to popular demand, I have created 2 different things over the last 24 hours, and I figured I would show you what I am talking about, and that is upgrading and finishing Space Lake and Space Pool, Galactic Galactic Lake and Pool, which were apparently of interest to some. So, do take a look. This is Space Lake here. Behold all of its glory. As you can see, I'm hanging out over here on my little inner tube. You fell asleep before I went live last night? No big deal. No big deal. I was waiting for people to finish streaming, as I often do. Anyway, yeah, Space Lake, and then Space Pool, I gotta say, is something of an upgrade. It's where the party's happening. Space Lake is for people who want to chill, maybe do some space fishing. I just realized I hadn't added my my mic as a source on this, so sorry about that, folks. This is a new scene after all, so I didn't have everything quite figured out. But yeah, here, welcome to Galactic Pool, where I'm hanging out seaside / poolside, talking to you folks. By the way, I'm gonna make it so that people, if they want to, I'm gonna like create some sort of like maybe like a Twitch-based reward, like channel points or something, so people can get their own pictures here at the pool if they so desire. Also, you can request. I'll make it so you can probably request your own emote if that's what you want. So yeah, behold. Okay, on to the serious, more important part of this show. How long did that take? Not long, not too bad. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed Galactic Pool and or Lake. And by the way, if you're just tuning in, this was Space Lake once again. Pool, Lake, Library. Really building out the stream over here, I feel like. Oh, I didn't even know. Hey, you know, it happens. It happens, and it's not a big deal. Okay, we're going to start with American politics. This first video is going to be a quick one. Congress has apparently reached a deal to avert a shutdown. This is from Reuters 20 hours ago. Oh, wait a second. Is this on? What is this on? Ew. Is that the best you got for me? My God, that is terrible.
Leaders say they've struck a deal Wednesday to avert a partial government shutdown by the end of the week. That would pave the way for votes on a stopgap bill to keep the lights on.
Good God, that is quiet.
Congressional leaders say they've struck a deal Wednesday to avert a partial government shutdown by the end of the week. That would pave the way for votes on a stopgap bill to keep the lights on in the government through until mid-March. The temporary measure will be voted on by the House and Senate this week. That's according to a joint statement by House Speaker Mike Johnson, Senate and House leaders, and the leaders of the two chambers' appropriations panels. They say they agree to advance 6 of 12.
Mike Johnson is a Scooby-Doo villain. By the way, I haven't quite set it up yet, but in the background I've been clipping some stuff, and so I've got some stuff to throw into chat. Not into chat, but into the stream randomly, like this.
I'm like, Jesus, I say that.
And like this.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
So, do prepare yourself for stuff like that. It's not fully functional yet, but, you know, might have some fun with it.
Bills by March 8th, and the rest on March 22nd, giving lawmakers time to examine and debate the full-year funding bills. Republican Representative...
thank you, FG. I appreciate it. Good to see you.
Van Hearn told reporters the temporary funding bill would be put to a House vote on Thursday. It would be the fourth such measure in the fiscal year that began last October 1st. Lawmakers disagree on funding and aid to U.S. allies, with hardline Republicans wanting to see more spending cuts. Both parties now have to convince their ranks to back the stopgap deal. But if voting fails, it would bring the federal government to the brink of partial shutdowns on Saturday.
Okay, so let me just double check this. Okay, so while there's been a deal announced, they haven't been voted on yet. So it's not a guarantee that that is going to be the case, but it does seem like people are optimistic about it. All right. Okay, sorry about that. Moving forward is a very quick video. And actually, it's kind of two videos in a row on the same thing. Regarding Trump and his attempt to file for immunity.
The United States Supreme Court has agreed to hear Donald Trump's claim of immunity from prosecution for his role in efforts to overturn the 2020 election result. The judges are expected to hear arguments in late April. Lawyers say that going to trial would radically disrupt the former president's re-election campaign. Trump also faces 3 other criminal cases. And a judge has removed Trump from the Illinois Republican primary ballot on March the 19th. That decision is on hold until Friday, giving his lawyers time to appeal, which they've said they will. Courts in Colorado and Maine have also handed down similar rulings. Trump's lawyers are appealing the Colorado case at the Supreme Court.
Good luck with that.
The Supreme Court agreed to hear former President Donald Trump's claims of presidential immunity from prosecution for trying to overturn his 2020 election loss. That decision went.
Lawyers. I say sometimes to a lawyer, are you sure you want to represent me?
They will further delay Trump's criminal prosecutions, potentially giving him a boost as he runs to regain the presidency, and thrusting the nation's top judicial body with a 6-3 conservative majority and 3 Trump-appointed justices into the election fray. The justices will freeze the election subversion case being pursued by special counsel Jack Smith. That trial won't start on March 4th, and there's no new trial date. Trump claims he is immune to prosecution because he was president when he took actions aimed at reversing President Joe Biden's election victory over him. The Supreme Court will review a lower court's rejection.
If presidents can't be prosecuted, then we live in a freaking dictatorship, okay? Which is what he wants, but let's be real. Very real about that one.
Of Trump's claim of immunity from prosecution and scheduled the case for the week of April 22nd, where they'll focus on one question. Whether, and if so, to what extent does a former president enjoy presidential immunity from criminal prosecution for conduct alleged to involve official acts during his tenure in office? Rebecca Gill, an associate professor of political science at the University of Nevada, says it isn't clear how the justices may rule.
I think there are very few legal scholars who think that a majority of the court would agree that any president would have this sort of broad immunity over any conduct in office, much less the particular conduct that's alleged here. So that doesn't mean, though, that it's a happy day in Jack Smith's office. It's probably not, because this is necessarily going to continue to delay things to some degree.
Trump on social media hailed the Supreme Court's decision to hear his
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Without presidential immunity, a president will not be able to properly function or make decisions in the best interest of the United States of America. On February 6th, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit ruled against Trump's immunity claim. The 3-judge panel wrote it could not accept that the office of the presidency places its former occupants above the law for all time thereafter.
Exactly.
Trump supporters attacked.
Exactly. At bottom, former President Trump's stance would collapse our system of separated powers by placing the president beyond the reach of all 3 branches. Presidential immunity against federal indictment would mean that, as to the president, the Congress would not legislate, the executive could not prosecute, and the judiciary would not review. We cannot accept that the office of the presidency places its former occupants above the law for all time thereafter. Careful evaluation of these concerns leads us to conclude that there is something.
Trump supporters attacked the Capitol in January 2021, aiming to prevent Biden from being certified. That's after Trump and his allies made false claims that the 2020 election was stolen and devised a plan to use false electors to thwart Biden's victory. If Trump regains the presidency, he could use his powers to force an end to the prosecution or potentially pardon himself for any federal crimes. Also on Wednesday, an Illinois judge stripped Trump from the state's Republican presidential primary ballot, siding with voters who argued that the former president defied the anti-insurrection clause of the Constitution's 14th Amendment. She delayed her ruling from taking effect in light of an expected appeal by Trump. The Supreme Court is soon expected to rule on a separate but similar case that also puts it in the election spotlight over the former president's eligibility to be on the ballot in Colorado. having heard arguments earlier in February.
Okay. Well, sticking with American politics, which are a complete shit show right now. The fact that they decided to take it up and when they plan on doing it means it will be put off till July. Yeah, although I feel like, no, I take that back because everything has changed with regards to the whole, shit. Which one is it? It's hilarious that you have to like sit there and think about, oh, which indictment is it? Like, I can literally feel like I can barely keep up. Barely keep up. Okay, next video is... Oh, God, this is unfortunate. There was a shooting in Orlando, and this is an AP, very quick piece from AP on it. That's not it. At least one person is dead after a shooting in Orlando, Florida, police say. Several others were injured after the shooting late Wednesday. Orlando police responded in reference to several shots fired. Upon arrival, officers located multiple victims, including one deceased. Police did not immediately release a possible motive for the shooting. Okay. Let's just remember, after having watched that, there's been, not literally, but if you were to do it by math, essentially, and try and line up 1-to-1, there's been a mass shooting or... actually, no, I don't even have to go that far. There has been a mass shooting... or casualty event based upon, used with guns being used every single day for all of 2024. So, might want to do something about guns. Okay. Whoa. What just happened? What was that? Okay, fixed it. Oh, good. Yes. All right. So, sticking in America, we have got another video next up. Why am I on this screen like this right now? That's so much better. Okay. This video is from an hour ago, so very recent. BBC News story on whether or not Joe Biden and Donald Trump in Texas for competing visits to the U.S.-Mexico border. Let's see who can come up with a more right-wing border policy. What do you say, folks? State of America.
Thank you for joining us here on The Context, and we begin in Texas, where both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are visiting the US-Mexico border. The men are locked in a high-stakes political duel on an issue that could ultimately decide this.
Oh, yeah. Get some rest over there, AC. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Former President Donald Trump are visiting the US-Mexico border. The men are locked in a high-stakes political duel on an issue that could ultimately decide this year's presidential election. Joe Biden is visiting a border city called Brownsville. It's recently seen a drop in the number of people illegally crossing into the US. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is in Eagle Pass, the Texan border town where Republican Governor Greg Abbott has defied the Biden White House by using state National Guard soldiers to detain undocumented migrants and erect border barricades. Mr. Trump spoke there a short time ago.
Nice weather, beautiful day, but a very dangerous border. We're going to take care of it. Thank you.
Another beautiful.
Right. not fast enough with this yet. I really do need to get my NPC all set up, but...
Like Jesus, I said,
Day, says Donald Trump. Well, immigration is a live topic in the US heading into the election. A recent Gallup survey saw 28% of Americans named immigration as their top concern, beating out every other topic, including the economy and inflation. Some 61% of Americans in a Monmouth survey listed illegal immigration as a very serious problem, with most respondents for the first time saying they support Mr. Trump's proposal of building a US-Mexico border wall. That border was last crossed last year by 2.5 million undocumented migrants. That's an influx that has overwhelmed processing facilities and pushed social services in major American cities to the brink. Our correspondent Tom Bateman filed this report from Eagle Pass, where authorities have been grappling with the issue.
Searching in the shadows along the route of the Rio Grande, we've joined a night patrol searching a favoured landing spot for people who have made a perilous journey to reach the US.
Staying out tonight and whatnot, because we're going to let night shift know.
Okay. This Texas rancher says last month hundreds of people swam and waded onto his land here, and we trace one narrow path in a global wave of the displaced.
Well, there are clothes everywhere, signs of life. This is treacherous for people making their way into America.
Angeli, 7 months pregnant, crossed the Rio Grande yesterday at 3 a.m. Her journey from Honduras's most violent city, gripped by gang warfare.
Honduras? She traveled like 800 miles or something like that? 7 months pregnant? That's nuts.
Began 2 years ago.
I was holding hands with another pregnant woman when we crossed the river. The water was very cold, and we were afraid of being swept by currents. I was so relieved once we made it to the land.
Record numbers of people seen here last month have been crossing, driven by conflict and instability, drawn by the post-pandemic jobs gap in America. But in an angrily divided country, a broken system for dealing with immigration claims has become a major election issue. The town's former police chief told us the system is failing everyone.
What's the situation?
It's terrible. We need to get Biden out. That's it, plain and simple. We need to get Trump in there to, be more forceful and let our Border Patrol guys do their job.
And Trump-style proposals are on full show. The Republican governor of Texas has sent state troops to the riverbank, he says, to deter migrants, although there are few signs of its longer-term impact. We watched as state forces stopped to check federal patrol trucks, a challenge to Mr. Biden's authority at the border. This border path...
Oh, that's helpful. That's helpful. That's good. That's really good. Productive. They complain about not having enough resources, and then they do stuff like that. It's a freaking joke. It's a freaking joke.
Now on the campaign trail, and America's issue with immigration is set to be a decisive one in the race for the White House. Tom Bateman, BBC News, Eagle Pass.
The fact is, we need to change border policy to make it so that people can come to this country legally and not have to circumvent the law and just, asylum and everything else. It's ridiculous. The fact is, we're funding half the wars that are creating refugees right now, and I feel like I'm being kind of generous with that half. Hey, Morbius Dragon, good to see you. Anybody else I'm missing has just showed up? Okay, cool. Oh, people are jealous of the awesome face.
Texas.
Well, let's go live now to New York and the political analyst Brian Stelter. Hello to you, Brian. Thank you for joining us here. I mean, of all the issues to go head to head with Donald Trump on the same day in the same state, illegal immigration is, it's quite a challenge for the president. What is he thinking? What is the strategy there?
I think it is the thorniest challenge President Biden faces, and many members of his own party are aware of this. I've spoken with Democratic donors and bigwigs who say, we've been telling Biden privately he has to have an answer to these questions about migration. Illegal immigration is the single biggest topic that Fox News and other right-wing media, other pro-Trump media, have focused on basically every day of the Biden administration, every day since he was inaugurated. They believe this is the most important wedge issue that can benefit Republicans. So Biden is clearly hearing from Democrats who want him to take action, and he's hearing that Republican rhetoric against him and thus visiting today.
Yeah, and we've heard that Republican rhetoric already. Donald Trump, as he was landing, talking about a beautiful day, that he's going to go and sort out the border problem. Is it an easy win for Donald Trump?
By the way, should I rewind that? Did Brian Stelter completely fumble that just now? Because I had to grab a drink. You know, I'm just going to go back. I hope it doesn't crush anybody's dreams in chat, that last 30 seconds.
Of all the issues to go head to head with Donald Trump on the same day in the same state, illegal immigration is, well, it's quite a challenge for the president. What is he thinking? What is the strategy there?
I think it is the thorniest challenge President Biden faces, and many members of his own party are aware of this. I've spoken with Democratic donors and bigwigs who say, we've been telling Biden privately he has to have an answer to these questions about migration. Illegal immigration is the single biggest topic that Fox News and other right-wing media, other pro-Trump media, have focused on basically every day of the Biden administration, every day since he was inaugurated. They believe this is the most important wedge issue that can benefit Republicans. So Biden is clearly hearing from Democrats who want him to take action, and he's hearing that Republican rhetoric against him and thus visiting today.
Yeah, and we've heard that Republican rhetoric already. Donald Trump, as he was landing, talking about a beautiful day, that he's going to go and sort out the border problem. Is it an easy win for Donald Trump?
It's not it is a win in some cases, in some regards. We've seen President Trump be a demagogue on the issue of immigration for many years. Remember, during the 2016 campaign, he made this one of his signature topics. There are arguments, however, that he did not take as many actions in office as he promised, and that he is at a disappointing.
Not that any significant portion of Trump voters are holding him to account for not doing it. They blame Mexico and Democrats for that. Come on.
Record, at least to some on the hard right. At the same time, this is something that he is seizing upon. He's on Fox again tonight doing interviews on this subject. I view the 2024 election this way. Every day the subject is migration or illegal immigration, Trump has the advantage. Every day the topic is something like abortion rights, reproductive rights, then Biden has the advantage. After all, that's a big story also in Texas. I interviewed a Texas woman who couldn't get an abortion who's suing the state. You know, so there's that sort of tension between these competing issues, the Democrats believing they're on the defensive on migration for sure.
So we are expecting to hear from both.
It's honestly a terrible look that Joe Biden seems less concerned about Palestine and women's rights to health care in America than he seems to about the border, because I've seen him talk about the border a bunch of times. He's literally down in Texas right now dealing with it. Where was he when the Supreme Court was making the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade? Where was he for the last 4 months when Palestine was getting demolished, literally? And it's just gross.
Potential candidates for the election this evening, today. Is there anything that President Biden can say to reclaim the narrative on this issue?
I think he has a strong argument that he offered a deal, that Democrats reached a bipartisan deal with some Republicans wanting to provide funding for border.
Yeah, Morbius, I'm not saying that not Biden, okay? What I'm saying is that Biden is making it tremendously difficult for people like myself and other progressives to get behind him, because he continues to push towards the middle on everything, right? And while, you know, I don't really believe in like accelerationist sort of arguments, generally speaking, he's making me feel extra accelerationist lately. I'm not saying to not vote and to vote for Trump or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, as somebody who has defended him and his policies over his term, last year or last 6 months has made it dramatically more difficult.
security, wanting to take steps to control migration, and yet House Republicans did squash that bill. Trump squashed that bill. Biden is going to say all year long that he had a plan, but Trump ruined it, that the Republicans ruined it, and that is a strong argument. That's an accurate factual argument to make on the campaign trail.
But the fact is that the statistics are that illegal immigration has gone.
That's true. I mean, you can't publish a book in chat. I'd kind of appreciate it if you didn't do that, but I think you've managed to join the Discord now, so you could post like a first draft in there somewhere. I'm trying to think of which channel that would be appropriate.
Massively since President Biden has been in the White House, and that is a huge problem.
No, absolutely, Morbius, you're right about that. And I mean, I heard Marianne Williamson is back in the race now after dropping out, whatever it was, a couple months ago. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's a difficult choice. I still think people should vote uncommitted in the primary, as it does not actually affect the outcome of the general election. But it's I think it's important to make our voices heard and to say enough is enough. It's time for people to start listening to us, to start doing what it is the people want, and stop just, you know, kowtowing to the middle. And the middle is just corporations, right? We looked at it a couple streams ago, just how much money, like these companies like Lockheed Martin and, you know, Northrop Grumman or whatever, you know, like all these different sort of military industrial complex sort of companies have made, and that just feels like who they're sort of appeasing over and over again. It's the same sort of people.
Yes, and that's partly in the wake of COVID-19 after 2020, when there was relatively little migration happening. The numbers then spiked when Biden took office. Democrats say Biden is also deporting many people, that those numbers have also spiked. But this is a sort of story, even though facts are sometimes pesky, this is a story largely driven by feelings, I think. When I talk to voters about this, it's much more about emotions and anecdotes than it is about statistics. And those anecdotes are about people, especially even in cities like New York, who feel uncomfortable with the rate of migration under Biden.
Those pesky facts, Brian. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always really good to talk to you. Let us go straight. I said we're going to be dropping in and out of Texas this evening. There we are in Brownsville, where President Biden is, as you can see, he is just meeting there. We are expecting to hear some words from him later on this evening, but we did know that he was going to be given a briefing at the border. We'll be talking to Border Patrol guards, finding out the situation there, finding out, I guess, what these people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis as this number of illegal immigrants, undocumented migrants, has continued to rise, as we were just hearing there from Brian, over the past 4 years or so. So there's President Biden. We saw, didn't we, the former President Donald Trump arriving at Del Rio Airport a little earlier. He is himself making his way to Eagle Pass, and we will be talking, or hearing rather, from him a little later.
Okay, just because we love doing things like this on this stream, wink wink, we're going to look at a graph real quick. Where is it? There it is. Oh, that's the wrong screen. My bad. There we go. Okay, this graph right here represents the monthly Southwest land border apprehensions from October 2020 till April of 2023. And as you can see pretty clearly, that there's a definite uptick in apprehensions. That's people being essentially arrested at the border who are coming over illegally. And remember, Joe Biden didn't take presidency until here in February, essentially, or well, yeah, in January of 2021, right? So, if anything, there's been more law enforcement at the border since Joe Biden took presidency. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that for the people trying to frame the argument as if he's been soft on the border, I refer you to this graph.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
Okay, what's next? Thank you for reminding me we didn't pay taxes in the Ice Age. MTG. What we got? I guess we can finish this. Well, actually, it is finished. What am I talking about? We're just gonna stick with this just to wrap it up. A quick video. Wait, don't do that. That's the wrong screen.
U.S. President Joe Biden and his likely election opponent Donald Trump made dual.
Okay, I got my shit together. I swear to God. Here we go.
U.S. President Joe Biden and his likely election opponent Donald Trump made dueling trips to the U.S.-Mexico border on Thursday. The competing trips to southern Texas come as border security is now a top issue for voters, with 17% of Americans listing illegal immigration as the most important problem facing the country, according to a recent Reuters Ipsos poll.
How is it possible? How is it possible? I gotta hear that statistic again. It's nuts. It's just dumb.
Facing the country, according to a recent Reuters listing for voters, with 17% of Americans listing illegal immigration as the most important.
I thought he said 70, like 70. 17 makes a lot more sense. That's like, what, a third of Republicans or something like that? That makes a lot of sense.
Problem facing the country, according to a recent Reuters Ipsos poll.
This is a Joe Biden invasion.
In Eagle Pass, Texas, Trump sought to capitalize on the rising concern among Americans about immigration and to pin Biden's name to the issue.
Migrant crime. We call it Biden migrant crime, but that's a little bit long, so we'll just leave it. But every time you hear the term migrant crime, you know where that comes from.
In Brownsville, Texas, Biden sought to shame Republican lawmakers for rejecting a bipartisan bill to toughen immigration policies after Trump told them not to pass it to avoid giving Biden a policy victory.
The majority of Democrats and Republicans in both houses support this legislation until someone came along and said, don't do that, it'll benefit the incumbent. That's a hell of a way to do business in America for such a serious problem. We need to act.
Under pressure from Republicans who accuse him of failing to control the border, Biden called on Congress last year to provide more enforcement funding and said he would, quote, shut down the border if given new authority to turn back migrants. The number of migrants caught crossing the U.S.-Mexico border illegally hit a monthly record of 250,000 in December, but dropped by half in January, a trend U.S. officials attribute to increased Mexican enforcement and seasonal trends.
So you're saying our relationship with Mexico is directly related to how many people go across the border illegally? Weird. Weird. Wouldn't expected that. Just kidding. The Ice Age was a cool time. Oh my God, Morbius. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, next video is a discussion on what the stakes are for Super Tuesday, supposedly. I mean, really, honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I hope they give me something good. Oh, God, what are the stakes?
The biggest day of primary elections, known as Super Tuesday, is seen as Nikki Haley's last chance to stop former President Donald Trump, as he bulldozes his way to the Republican presidential nomination and to a rematch with Democratic President Joe Biden. Here's what you need to know about Super Tuesday. March 5th is the day in this year's primary cycle when the most states vote. 15 states in one U.S. territory will hold Republican nominating contests, with more than a third of the party's delegates up for grabs. That includes delegates from the two most populous states, California and Texas, where opinion polls show Trump to be an overwhelming favorite. Trump can't officially clinch the nomination on March 5th, as he needs more than 1,200 delegates to do so. But Super Tuesday could be decisive. As for the Democrats, President Joe Biden is a shoo-in for the nomination. long shot bids from U.S. Congressman Dean Phillips and self-help
Blam.
guru Marianne Williamson, who said she was, quote, unsuspending her campaign after dropping out of the race 3 weeks prior, are not seen as major challenges to Biden. About a third of Democratic delegates will also be decided on March 5th, with a nominating contest held in 14 states, plus American Samoa.
8 out of 10? 8 out of 10 for what? What's getting out of 8 out of 10 right now? Good to see you, my dogs. 7 out of 10 for Morbius. 8 out of 10 for Moano. But I don't know what the judgment is about. I feel like that's enough of American politics right now. It's making me a little sick that they just, you know, just glazed right over the Democratic primary process, and they're just like, yeah, it's already a foregone conclusion. No way to undo it now. Okay then, if you say so. Alright. Next video is from about 18 hours ago. You're doing dad jokes? Nice. Okay, very nice. And my dogs is rating the jokes. I see what's happening. All right, next video is titled Nigeria to begin cash transfers to millions of families. This should be interesting.
Bean cake bowls and water is what 75-year-old Aldo Bello and his kids are having for breakfast. He earns roughly $12 a month from guarding this property, but says it's barely enough for food.
We're like a bird.
We are like birds that eat today. We pray for God to bring tomorrow's own. God bless our neighbors. They support us. They give us food every Friday. That's how we have been managing. Sometimes we go to bed hungry.
Like Bello, millions of Nigerians have been pushed to the brink of starvation by the soaring cost of food, a condition many say was made worse by government reforms introduced last May.
Upon assuming office, President Bola Tinubu scrapped the fuel subsidy and floated the country's currency, the naira, saying the reforms could potentially turn around Nigeria's economic fortunes. But as fuel prices quadrupled, food and transportation also increased. Still, the government wants citizens to be patient.
But patience is not in abundance here. The government's decision has been met with resistance, including from the workers' union. Thousands responded this week after the union called for nationwide protests, demanding a reversal, threatening to walk off their jobs if nothing changes.
Comrades, we are hungry. There is hunger in the land. Hunger is everywhere. People in authority should remember that there is hunger. Our naira has been devalued. The currency of all the small countries around Nigeria are bigger than that of Nigeria.
If they don't stop, they will become victims of the same system. Because Nigerians have been pushed to the edge. At any moment from now, anything can happen. That's even those of us who are here leading this protest might become irrelevant when the real hungry people take over the struggle.
Last month, Nigeria's inflation hit a 3-decade high of 29.9%, triggered by a hike in food prices. In response, authorities ordered the release of grain from the national reserves to lower food prices. And now the government says 12 million vulnerable households, or an estimated 60 million Nigerians, will benefit from a $15 monthly cash grant to reduce the hardship. The government also announced plans to introduce a social security program for unemployed citizens.
We want to assure you that this letter will be discussed immediately at the plenary session. The leadership of the National Assembly is what you feel.
Protesters and many like Bello are hoping that's true. Timothy.
So, just to provide some context to this, if you're not aware a whole lot of Nigerian politics or economics, Nigeria has a pretty high GDP. However, that is almost entirely taken up by oil and gas. of which I'm sure you probably can guess the profits of are not very equally distributed. And they happen to owe, the government happens to owe like 2 billion IMF credits, which is more than, or under 2 billion IMF credits. I think it winds up coming out to something like $2 billion US. But yeah, so their economy is currently being crippled from different places. Some of it greed, some of it different kinds of greed. It's just different kinds of greed, really. I was gonna try and make distinctions. I was like, no, those are both basically greed. All right, finish
Obizu,
this.
TRT World, Abuja, Nigeria.
Okay. Staying in Africa, we are going to look at the next video. This is directly from the United Nations YouTube channel, entitled UN Peacekeeping Mission in the DRC, which is the the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which hands over first base to the government. Because there's been a military coup going on in DRC, if you're unaware.
From the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the UN peacekeeping mission in that country has handed over a first base to the government as part of its disengagement plan from South Kivu. The base was established in Kamanyola in 2005 and will now be managed by the Congolese National Police. The head of our peacekeeping mission, Bintou Keita, praised the commitment and work of the Pakistani peacekeepers who for 19 years have worked to protect civilians in coordination with the National Defense and Security Forces. In Kamanyola, the peacekeepers have supported the establishment of local protection committees, bringing together communities working alongside the local authorities on issues of security and protection of civilians. A community early warning system is also now in place there. And as we mentioned in the past, the joint memorandum signed in November last year by the Congolese government and the UN peacekeeping mission identified South Kivu as the first province from which it is to withdraw as part of an orderly, responsible, and phased withdrawal from the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that is a good thing. However, I would point out that the coup started in 2022. So it's taken the UN 2 years for anything to happen. Well, slightly less, but the sentiment still, I think, still applies. Okay, next one. Cats will lay on your face while you sleep. That's a fact. That is a fact. Scientific fact. I don't know what you started, Morbius. If you're the one who started it, you know, hey, good job. You've started something. Whatever it might be. I don't know. But you've done it. Okay, now we're moving to Gaza, which I'm pretty sure you could probably guess. But I was trying to get us at least some information into our brains before we do this, because I feel like this will definitely take up most of our thought space. And since this is the only footage I could find of it while I was doing research earlier today, I am going to give you something of a, what do you call it? An announcement, if you will. This next video, you should subscribe to this.
That country has handed over a first.
You should 100% subscribe to this channel. The only reason I'm using the video without having spoken to them in the first place is because I think that they would want this message spread. Also, because I have no contacts with them, and it was the only video of this protest that I could find. It was so extensive. So this is from 2 hours ago in New York City. where Status Coup News, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, and if you're not already, do subscribe to them, where they got live footage of a protest against the despicable situation happening in Gaza.
Washed away by the sea!
Where the aid can get washed away!
Pause.
Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Genocide Joe has got to go! Genocide Joe has got to go! Genocide Joe!
Before they start speaking, let's see what's going on here with the cops.
Go! Genocide Joe!
Put that fucking flag up.
Okay. We're definitely not going to watch the whole thing, as it's 2.5 hours long. Yeah, that I think I tried to Discord message you, Soul Life, about that command. I needed to fix it. I haven't fixed it yet. A couple of things in there that shouldn't be, because I don't. Yeah, I think I inserted it and tried to remove all the unnecessary stuff and didn't realize that was unnecessary, because I could just do it. Basically, I did it from the website rather than as a text prompt. Have you ever heard of the human cannonball that was hired and fired in the same night? My God. My God. A lot of dad jokes in chat today. Mods are gone. No, we still got Soul Life here. Still got Soul Life, it would seem. Yeah. Stealing jokes. It's all good. Probably going to skip forward in a second, but we're just going to continue watching a little bit more from this angle. I just think it's really good for us to be able to get this kind of footage same day, so we can get the word out to people that, you know, we need to make our voices heard and have a democratic process, because I think a lot of people in the Democratic Party are fed up with the current state of things. Not to say that every person here at this protest is a Democrat or a progressive, but it's my belief that they're probably more left-leaning than anything.
It's nothing. All right, so what I was told about what happened over here, there was a counter-protest. So one woman with an Israeli flag showed up, and then nothing happened, but they're escorting her away. But as you see here, we have SRG officers on their bikes.
We will free Palestine within our lifetime. We will free Palestine within our lifetime. We will free Palestine within our lifetime. We will free Palestine within our lifetime.
That seems like a good place to pause it so I can respond to more stuff in chat here. Gotta say, it's good to see you, Soul Life. You've been missed as a mod. I know that we do stream late, so it's much appreciated. It's good to see you here, and I appreciate the help on the commands. It's difficult for me to do all of this while streaming, so the help is always appreciated. By the way, if anybody hasn't yet, I've finally made a graphic for my Twitch, which I'm not streaming to right now, but will be intermittently between all these serious streams. And I might start multi-streaming just all the time, but right now it's been too much for me to handle on my own with everything else going on. But I may very well be doing both, so if you see it in the corner there, that's that. Oh, also my Patreon has now been approved, so people can start getting access to content and other things before everybody else, as well as galactic artwork such as this. Behold the beauty. Anyway, there's gonna be plenty more stuff on there, not just random crap like that. And yeah, no reason to delay. Let's just continue on this. Just figured I would throw some announcements into the stream, as it seems like some new people are here.
I want to show you guys the amount of police officers. So we have officers lined up here on the outside of the protest, and then we have officers, more officers with riot gear across the street.
Wow. Wow, Mono. Did you hear about the kidnapping at school? It's okay. He woke up. It's awful. Wow. Well, in response to there's more chats here. Do you guys know Nightingale? I actually don't, but I feel like I heard the name before. It sounds like she has some sort of a protest channel of sorts. You get back on Twitch, yes. Actually, so that's I'm probably gonna start streaming, multi-streaming to Twitch very soon, because it's the only platform I have monetized right now, aside from the Patreon. YouTube is going to be something of a uphill battle. At least we're definitely moving along. Watch hours are going up, but still have to break a bunch of metrics over there. So I can at least be making some minute amount of ad money. Although I just hate doing it for the ads. That's the thing. Although there's other ways to donate on Twitch, but let's continue this video.
Because the massacre that happened this morning has become known as the Flower Massacre.
Palestine will never die. It is right to rebel. Israel, go to hell. It is right to rebel. Israel, go to hell. Israel, go to hell. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. What do we want? Justice. I can't hear you. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down.
Okay. Well, there's plenty more. 2 hours to be exact. And if you want to watch the whole protest, go to Status Coup News and do subscribe to their channel, as it's very informative and on the ground source that I really appreciate. As well as their podcast is good too, but I really do appreciate just how active they are out there on the streets, oftentimes getting footage. What is this? What am I missing here? Morbius would like to start streaming. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, next video. Okay, what are we gonna watch next? Yeah, we're gonna stay in chronological order here, at least in terms of when these videos were published. Aside from that one, which was very, very, very recently, it was this night. Okay. Yeah. Another quick one, Middle East Eye video. And you've probably seen footage of this already to some degree, but it is a trigger warning. There's definitely some rough stuff in this one. This is entitled Israeli Massacre Kills Over 77 Palestinians Waiting for Aid.
Within the last half, the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza has announced that more than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed in the territory since the conflict began on October the 7th. Well, that number equates to about 1.3.
The significance of the small amount of flour that was poured onto the ground was the fact that they could do it. Is the fact that everybody living in America can go to some degree. Obviously, I'm not saying that everybody's just got money to throw around, but that you could walk to the store and with money buy flour and eat food. But right now, Gazans, Palestinians are struggling. Well, specifically the Gazans. I know West Bank, slightly different story. But with Gaza right now, they have no food. They're eating animal food, right? And that's kind of I think the point of that message, you know, that people are fucking starving right now. Aside from getting bombed, they're just gonna die if they don't get bombed and don't get food. So
percent of the 2.3 million population there. Let's go live now to Jerusalem and our Middle East correspondent Yulan Nell. So it's quite an
maybe the flour massacre. I'm not familiar with that reference for some reason. I'm gonna look that up as well.
toll, isn't it?
It is indeed, and we're hearing from the Hamas-run health ministry that there were more than 80 people killed overnight in the Gaza Strip. Most of those actually apparently waiting for aid in Gaza City when witnesses there
I see. So it's directly related to this video we're about to watch from yesterday. Okay.
There was shelling by Israeli tanks and still an unclear picture from about exactly what has happened there. But overall, now this really grim milestone has been passed. The health ministry in Gaza is really the only official source of data that we have for casualty numbers.
Jesus, this thing is so like difficult to watch, but you're all over here making jokes. Nightbot is making poetry, more almost like it felt like it had like a vibe to it. I'm trying to think of what it's called. It's like a very Def Jam sort of vibe from Nightbot right now with that poem. I'm gonna read it actually because it's beautiful. Read it out loud. Moanoop is a typing pro with skills that really show. Fast and accurate, never slow. Fingers flying to and fro with words that effortlessly flow. Unlike mine, typing talent, watch it grow. That's great. It's beautiful and poetic. Thank you, Nightbot, Soul Life, Moanoop, everybody here.
It's the one that's relied on by the UN and others, and it's saying that the majority of those who have been killed are women and children since the 7th of October. and also more than 70,000 people have been injured as well. These figures rely on bodies being brought in to hospitals or seen by medical workers so they can be properly registered. But actually, it's thought that real death toll is going to be much higher than this because there are several thousand people who are still considered as being missing in Gaza, many of them buried under the rubble of buildings that have been hit by Israeli airstrikes. Now, it's important to say that these figures do not differentiate between...
I just realized BCAT is missing entirely. She's usually here for all of these. I feel bad. She's missing things. Well, not that they're good things, but they're things.
Who are civilians and those who are fighters with Hamas or other groups in Gaza. When we've asked the Israeli military for comment here, it says that some 10,000 people, terrorists, are estimated to have been killed during their operations.
And Yolande, tell us about the latest progress on moves towards a ceasefire.
Well, still in the background here, we have this big diplomatic effort going on to try to get a new longer-term truce agreed that would see more of the Israeli hostages held by Hamas in Gaza freed at the same time. And you have an Israeli delegation, a Hamas delegation, who are in Qatar. Qatar, of course, are key mediators here. And the real hope has been that a new deal can be agreed in time for the Islamic holy month of Ramadan, which starts on about the 10th of March. There's a lot of US involvement here. President Biden has spoken very optimistically about an agreement being in place by the start of next week, but the other parties involved have sounded much more cautious there, saying that there are still big gaps to be bridged.
And I suppose one of the issues is if they do an exchange of prisoners for hostages, the concern in Israel is always who they let out, as they saw that one of the people who they let out in a prisoner exchange before was someone who then went on to plan the October the 7th attacks.
Indeed, so it's often mentioned by Israelis that the biggest prisoner exchange that there ever was for an Israeli soldier held captive by Hamas in Gaza saw the release of Yahya Sinwar, who is the local Hamas leader in Gaza, seen as a mastermind of the 7th of October attacks.
Doesn't this outfit that this woman's wearing make her look like she's in what's that movie? Fuck. Is that futuristic movie where everybody gets like split up into 4 groups? Fuck, I want to call it Dauntless, but that's not what it's called. That's like the name of one of the groups. Divergent. I just realized it. Divergent. It just looks like that. I know it's not about the the video right now, but it's a sweet freaking coat, I gotta say.
That, of course, makes it very difficult for people to accept the notion of these.
Oh, that's a much worse reference. And you're right. Now that you say it, it does remind me of Handmaid's Tale. Oh God, makes me like it a lot less.
Swabs, and it is thought that in exchange for some 40 of the remaining Israeli hostages held in Gaza, that's really a minority of them, that we would have, in exchange for that, some 400 Palestinian prisoners released from Israeli jails. This is according to the reports that have been leaked out, and they would indeed, we're told, include some who have been convicted of serious offences of terrorism by Israel. They would be seen as having Israeli blood on their hands.
Yolande Nell with the analysis there from Jerusalem. Thank you very much.
That was a good movie. I assume that's in reference to Divergent. Yeah, it was a pretty good movie, I felt like. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Okay. I think we may have watched a speech from this man previously, but I don't believe it was the same speech. So we're going to watch this one. Lawyers' incredible speech dismantling Israeli occupation of Palestine at The Hague.
Distinguished members of the court, it's a great honor and privilege to appear before you and to represent the League of Arab States.
What? Oh, we have to stop this. Nightbot is telling me that PKK went missing after receiving disturbing messages from an unknown source. Evidence suggests a sinister plot targeting influences. Her disappearance remains a chilling mystery. Syntax of a couple of those sentences was a little weird, but it's still mysterious. Still mysterious. Okay, sorry, we're going to back this up.
Mr. President, distinguished members of the court, it's a great honor and privilege to appear before you and to represent the League of Arab States. The Palestinian people have been denied the exercise of their legal right to self-determination through the more than century-long violent, colonial, racist effort to establish a nation-state exclusively for the Jewish people in the land of mandatory Palestine. When this began after the First World War, the Jewish population of that land was 11%. Forcibly implementing Zionism in this demographic context has necessarily involved the extermination or forced displacement of some of the non-Jewish Palestinian population, the exercise of domination over and subjugation, dispossession and immiseration of remaining non-Jewish Palestinians, the emigration to that land of Jewish people, regardless of any direct personal link, and the denial of Palestinian refugees the right to return, all operating through a racist distinction privileging Jewish people over non-Jewish Palestinian people. This has necessitated serious violations of all the fundamental Jos Kogan's and erga omnes norms of international law. The right of self-determination, the prohibitions on aggression, genocide, crimes against humanity, racial discrimination, apartheid and torture, and the core protections of IHL. Today, I will address, first, violations of international law arising out of the regime of racial domination, apartheid, perpetrated against the Palestinian people across the entire land of historic Palestine. And then, second...
All right, chat, I'm going to be listening. I got to take a quick break. Don't blow up the whole thing, okay? Just no.
The existential illegality of Israel's occupation of the Palestinian Gaza Strip and West Bank, including East Jerusalem, since 1967. As a necessary prerequisite, I must begin with this special right granted to the Palestinian people in the League Covenant. The legal right of self-determination of the Palestinian people originates in the sacred trust obligations of Article 22 of the League Covenant, part of the Versailles Treaty. Palestine, an A-class mandate under British colonial rule, was, after the First World War, supposed to have its existence as an independent state provisionally recognized, a sui generis right of self-determination. The UK and other members of the League Council attempted to bypass this, incorporating the 1917 Balfour Declaration commitment to establishing a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine into the instrument stipulating how the mandate would operate. However, the Council had no legal power to bypass the covenant in this way. It acted ultra vires, and the relevant provisions were legally void. There was and is no legal basis in that mandate instrument for either a specifically Jewish state in Palestine or the UK's failure to discharge the sacred trust obligation to implement Palestinian self-determination. After the Second World War, a self-determination right applicable to colonial peoples generally crystallized in international law. For the Palestinian people, this essentially corresponded to and supplemented the pre-existing covenant right regarding the same single territory. The 1947 proposal to partition Palestine was contrary to this, the Arab rejection and affirmation of the legal status quo. In 1948, then, Palestine was, legally, a single territory with a single population enjoying a right of self-determination on a unitary basis. Despite this, a state of Israel specifically for Jewish people was proclaimed in 1948 by those controlling 78%, more than 3/4 of Palestine, accompanied by the forced displacement of a significant number of the non-Jewish Palestinian population, the Nakba catastrophe. This illegal secession was an egregious violation of Palestinian self-determination. Israel's statehood was recognized, and Israel admitted as a UN member despite this illegality. Israel is not the legal continuation or successor of the mandate. This violation of Palestinian self-determination is ongoing and unresolved. Two key elements are, first, Palestinian people not displaced from the land proclaimed to be of Israel in 1948 and their descendants have been forced to live as citizens, presently they constitute 17.2%, of a state conceived to be of and for another racial group, under the domination of that group, necessarily treated as second class because of their race. Second, Palestinian people displaced from that land and their descendants cannot return. These are serious breaches of the right of self-determination, the prohibitions of racial discrimination and apartheid, and the right of return. They must end immediately. As if this ongoing Nakba was not catastrophic enough, in 1967, Israel captured the remaining 22% of historic Palestine, the Gaza Strip and West Bank, including East Jerusalem, the Nakba. It's maintained that use of force to remain in control for the 57-year period since. For more than half a century then, a state defined to be of and for Jewish people exclusively has governed the entire land of historic Palestine and the Palestinian people there. And the regime of racial domination, apartheid, and denying return has been extended throughout. In the case of Palestinians living in the occupied territory, this has involved the same serious violations of international law, supplemented by serious violations of norms applicable in occupied territory. Indeed, these people are subject to an even more extreme form of racist domination, as they aren't even citizens of the state exercising authority over them. Even in East Jerusalem, which Israel has purported to annex, the majority non-Jewish Palestinian residents don't have citizenship, whereas Jewish residents, including illegal settlers, are citizens. Just as in territorial Israel, in occupied territory, these serious violations concerning how Israel exercises authority over the Palestinian people must end immediately. However, here, a more fundamental matter must also be addressed: the illegality of the exercise of authority itself. The enduring Palestinian right of self-determination means that the Palestinian people and the state of Palestine, not Israel, are sovereign over the territory Israel captured in '67. For Israel, the land is extraterritorial and, given what I said about the mandate, territory over which it has no legal sovereign entitlement. Despite this, Israel has purported to annex East Jerusalem and taken various actions there and in the rest of the West Bank, constituting de jure and de facto purported annexation, including implanting settlements. It is Israeli policy that Israel should be not only the exclusive authority over the entire land between the river and the sea, but also the exclusive sovereign authority there. This constitutes a complete repudiation of Palestinian self-determination as a legal right, since it empties the right entirely of any territorial content. Actualizing this through de facto and de jure purported annexation is, first, a serious violation of Palestinian self-determination, and second, because it's enabled through the use of force, a violation of the prohibition on the purported acquisition of territory through the use of force in the law on the use of force, and so an aggression. Serious violations of further areas of law regulating the conduct of the occupation are all.
Okay, chat. I am back. Sorry for the delay. Is that a sub-command you're trying to add, Soul Life? Like where one command triggers a second command? Let me know if there's anything I can do to help, because obviously I have access to the browser, but you seem to have it covered. We're going to keep watching this, because honestly this is exactly what needs to happen. While people in the streets like are one thing, and we should be doing that as well, the powers that be need to take responsibility and start declaring this what it is, a genocide, and stop, you know, beating around the bush.
So being perpetrated, notably the prohibitions on implanting settlements and altering, unless absolutely prevented, the legal, political, social and religious status quo. The occupation is therefore existentially illegal because of its use to actualize purported annexation. To end this serious...
Oh, it's called an alias. Okay. Thank you, Solif. I appreciate that.
...legality, it must be terminated. Israel must renounce all sovereignty claims and all settlements must be removed immediately. However, this is not the only basis on which the occupation's existential legality must be addressed. We need to delve deeper into both the law of self-determination and the law on the use of force. Beginning with self-determination, this right, when applied to the Palestinian people in the territory Israel captured in '67, is a right to be entirely self-governing, free from Israeli domination. Consequently, the Palestinian people have a legal right to the immediate end of the occupation, and Israel has a correlative legal duty to immediately terminate the occupation.
Exactly. And it is gross that we keep acting like they don't. Or not me, but like the administration, DOD, all these other sorts of officials and the news media have been framing it like it's an option, not an imperative.
right exists and operates simply and exclusively because the Palestinian people are entitled to it. It does not depend on others agreeing to its realization. It is a right. It's a repudiation of trusteeship, whereby colonial peoples were ostensibly to be granted freedom only if and when they were deemed ready because of their stage of development determined by the racist standard of civilization. The anti-colonial self-determination rule replaced this with a...
I love hearing this guy in this ridiculous suit saying anti-colonial. It's so, it's so good.
Right based on the automatic, immediate entitlement of all people to freedom, without preconditions. In the words of General Assembly 1514, inadequacy of preparedness should never serve as a pretext for delaying independence. Some suggest that the Palestinian people were offered and rejected deals that could have ended the occupation, and therefore Israel can maintain it pending a settlement. Even assuming arguendo the veracity of this account, the deals involved a further loss of the sovereign territory of the Palestinian people. Israel cannot lawfully demand concessions on Palestinian rights as the price for ending its impediment to Palestinian freedom. This would mean Israel using force to coerce the Palestinian people to give up some of their peremptory legal rights, illegal in the law on the use of force, and necessarily voiding the relevant terms of any agreement reached. The Palestinian people are legally entitled to reject a further loss of land over which they have an exclusive legal peremptory right. Any such rejection makes no difference to Israel's immediate legal obligation to end the occupation. Turning to the law on the use of force, Israel's control over the Palestinian territory since '67 as a military occupation is an ongoing use of force.
A lot of secrets going on in chat, it would seem. I'm not even keeping up with it all. In fact, I don't even know what secret you're talking about. I feel very left out of the loop. Okay. Yeah, we're going to keep watching a bit more of this. Just because it feels so, like, important. I believe this came from the 10th day of the ICJ, which was yesterday.
Existential legality is determined by the law on the use of force as a general matter beyond the specific issue of annexation. Israel captured the Gaza Strip and West Bank from Egypt and Jordan in the war it launched against them and Syria. It claimed to be acting in self-defense.
Oh, that was gorgeous. Let's just hear that again. Let's just hear it, just real quick. Let's hear that again.
Specific issue of annexation. Israel captured the Gaza Strip and West Bank from Egypt and Jordan in the war it launched against them and Syria.
Exactly.
It claimed to be acting in self-defense, anticipating a non-immediately imminent attack. The war was over after 6 days. Peace treaties between Israel and Egypt and Jordan were subsequently adopted. Despite this,
it's been a real theme for Israel. It's always self-defense, but other people are getting bombed, not them. You're not planning a space mutiny? My God. Is that the secret? There's been a space mutiny going on in the background this whole time? Well, guess what? I'm just gonna retire here to Space Lake, and you can do whatever you want. Although, I'll be honest, I'm still setting up infrastructure. So maybe if you could wait a little bit.
Israel maintained control of the territory, continuing the use of force enabling its capture. Israel's 67 war was illegal in the Jus ad Bellum, even assuming arguendo, its claim of a feared attack. States can't lawfully use force in non-immediately imminent anticipatory self-defense. Alternatively, assuming, again arguendo, that the war was lawful, the justification ended after 6 days. However, the Jus ad Bellum requirements continued to apply to the occupation as itself a continuing use of force. In 1967, with self-determination well established in international law, states could not lawfully use force to retain control over a self-determination unit captured in war unless the legal test justifying the initial use of force also justified, on the same basis, the use of force in retaining control. Moreover, this justification would need to continue not only in the immediate aftermath, but for more than half a century. Manifestly,
Wait, what? Somebody hit the self-destruct button. Oh god. I can hear it. I can hear it ticking. Oh, this is bad. Oh, that's bad. What's that say? Oh, I'm fucked. Well, folks, I guess I'm just gonna have to live here for now. The space station is destroyed. Thankfully, I've got all of these folks here to hang out with. Yeah, it's nice and peaceful here. I guess I'll just listen to some tunes. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. I like that. It's not bad. I can live with this. I got my peeps here with me, dancing hard. Got Rickroll. We got Beavis and Butthead. We got the guy with the saxophone and this chick playing air guitar. Bender bending Rodriguez's way in the background if you look real hard. Alright, I'm just kidding. It didn't blow up. You don't have access to the button. Are you crazy? I don't even have a self-destruct button. The satellite of news.
The test has not been met. Israel's exercise of control over the Gaza Strip and West Bank through the use of force has been illegal in the Jus ad Bellum.
Any available timeshares. Okay, so I'm trying to figure some stuff out, but I am definitely going to give Patreon, the patrons, the ability to get an emote or their photo of their choice put onto it so they can party too with the Galactic Stream Lord while we do the news. But beyond that, I'm trying to decide who else should get one, and I think it's going to make it way easier once YouTube is actually monetized. But I think a lot of you early folks, I'm going to give you some perks for being so, what's the word? Groundbreaking. What's happened? What just happened? Oh god. This guy's turned very strange. Okay. Tell you more about my MLM idea? No. I'm done telling you about the MLM idea. It's a terrible plan. I take it all back.
Self-determination unit captured in war, unless the legal test justifying the initial use of force also justified on the same basis the use of force in retaining control. Moreover, this justification would need to continue not only in the immediate aftermath, but for more than half a century. Manifestly, this legal test has not been met.
How can you tell if you're in the Matrix, wireless mic? Does a steak taste like a steak? Does the touch of a lover feel the same in the Matrix as it does in reality? Who's to say?
Israel's exercise of control over the Gaza Strip and West Bank through the use of force has been illegal in the Jus ad Bellum since the capture of the territory, or at least very soon afterwards. The occupation is therefore again existentially illegal in the law on the use of force and aggression, this time as a general matter, beyond illegality specific to annexation. To terminate this serious violation, the occupation must likewise end immediately. What of Israel's current military action in Gaza? This is not a war that began in October 2023. It's a drastic scaling up of the force exercised there and in the West Bank on a continual basis since '67. A justification for a new phase in an ongoing illegal use of force cannot be constructed solely out of the consequences of violent resistance to that illegal use of force. Otherwise, an illegal use of
the
force...
code outside the window was a dead giveaway. We're in the Matrix. Okay. I hear you on that. It does have that does give it a certain vibe, doesn't it? You never know, though. It could have been a passing computer window. I don't know.
Rendered lawful because those subject to it violently resisted. Circular logic with a perverse outcome. More generally, Israel cannot lawfully use force to control the Palestinian territory for security purposes pending an agreement providing security guarantees. States can only
Wait, I just got to hear that again because I think he just said something very based.
Because those subject to it violently resisted. Circular logic with a perverse outcome. More generally, Israel cannot lawfully use force to control the Palestinian territory for security purposes pending an agreement providing security guarantees.
Yeah, that was hella based. Wow. You hear that, folks? Israel cannot use force to hold the Palestinians hostage while waiting for an agreement. It violates international law. According to this dude, I would point out who is wearing the most, like, if you ask me to draw like a space judge right now, I would draw this guy, right? Like, that robe is insane. Like, this guy is a judge from the future.
States can only lawfully use force outside their borders in extremely narrow circumstances. Beyond that, they must address security concerns non-forcibly. The USA, UK, and Zambia suggested here that there is a sui generis...
Seeing a lot of hundreds and hearts going by my face right now. Appreciate it, chat. Appreciate you.
...applicable legal framework. An Israeli-Palestinian lex specialis. This somehow supersedes the rules of international law determining whether the occupation is existentially lawful. Instead, we have a new rule justifying the occupation.
That look he just gave was so good. Oh God, that got me.
Instead, we have a new rule justifying the occupation
We're doing it
until
again.
there is a peace agreement meeting
He looked like a parent telling a kid something.
We have a new rule justifying the occupation until there is a peace agreement meeting Israeli security needs. This is the law as these states would like it to be, not the law as it is. It has no basis in Resolution 242, Oslo, or any other resolutions or agreements.
Oh my God.
Actually,
my dogs. You've just fallen into my trap. Actually, no, it's not a trap yet. It's not a trap. You've fallen into my trap to give a very serious talk. Having said Galactic Senate meeting, I now have to tell you that I have been working on another scene, like the ones you've seen already, and I haven't yet finalized where I'm going to wind up with it. I have some great stuff I'm already working on, and at some point I hope to make the Galactic UN a real thing, which I think is what I'm going to call it. Not the Senate. Or maybe I should. It's one of the two. The UN's been so ineffective, Senate feels better. But then I think about the American Senate, and I think, it's really a toss-up. Okay, but yes, I have in fact been working diligently on that.
You are being invited to do away with the very operation of some of the fundamental peremptory rules of international law itself. As a result, the matters these rules conceive as rights vested in the Palestinian people would be realized only if agreement is reached and only on the basis of such agreement. At best, if there is an agreement, this means one that need not be compatible with Palestinian peremptory legal rights, determined only by the acute power imbalance in Israel's favor. At worst, if there is no agreement, this means that the indefinite continuation of Israeli rule over the Palestinian people in the OPT on the basis of racist supremacy and a claim to sovereignty would be lawful. This is an affront to the international rule of law, to the UN Charter imperative to settle disputes in conformity with international law, and to your judicial function as guardians of the international legal system. A final potential basis sometimes invoked to justify continuing the occupation should be addressed. Occupation and human rights law, applicable to illegal and lawful occupations alike, oblige Israel to address security threats in occupied territory. However, they only regulate the conduct of an occupation when it exists.
The Galactic Parliament.
They don't also...
Parliament has also done either one. Canada or the UK has also done terrible things. I guess that's my point. I started with Galactic UN. I feel like I want to stick with that. You know? Although I do like all these ideas in chat right now. Space Masons? The Space Masons. Trying to take this guy seriously right now, chat, and you're making it very difficult to even focus.
provide a legal basis for that existence itself. Existential legality is determined by the law of self-determination and the jus ad bellum only. There is no backdoor legal basis for Israel to maintain the occupation through the imperatives of occupation and human rights law. In sum, the occupation of the Palestinian Gaza Strip and West Bank, including East Jerusalem, is existentially illegal on two mutually reinforcing bases. First, the law on the use of force. Here, the occupation is illegal both as a use of force without valid justification and because it's enabling an illegal purported annexation. As such, it is an aggression. Second, the law of self-determination. Here, it's illegal again because of the association with illegal purported annexation, and also, more generally, because it is quite simply an exercise of authority over the Palestinian people that by its very nature violates their right to freedom. This multifaceted existential illegality involving serious violations of peremptory norms has two key consequences. First, the occupation must end. Israel must renounce its claim to sovereignty over the Palestinian territory. All settlers must be removed immediately. This is required to end the illegality, to discharge the positive obligation to enable immediate Palestinian self-administration, and because Israel lacks any legal entitlement to exercise authority.
That's the most important part in the International Criminal Court at The Hague. And since we've been talking about it, we've been talking about criminal courts and international blah-bitty-blahs and UN this and that. I'm gonna here end this portion on this incredible individual's speech and gonna show you what I was talking about. So this is one of the potential it's not a final draft necessarily, but this is one of the possible views from the Galactic UN, so check this out. All right, what's next on my list? That last picture was kind of like a edging, because that's really the view from the outside of the Galactic UN. It's like a what do you call it? It's like a main hall, right? It's not the actual court. Hey, good for Gabby. Good to see you. Did you happen to see all the new stuff? All right. Well, since Good for Gabby's here, she should see it. I think she was here for the Galactic Lake, Galactic Pool thing from a couple streams ago. Actually, I think it's been an ongoing discussion for like 3 streams. So here's the newest version of Space Galactic Lake. Here it is. Hello. You can kind of see me talking over here. I can point at you right now if I wanted to, like this. Yeah. Hello. All right. And then we got Galactic Pool, where it's popping. We got a bar. We got Rick Astley dancing. We got Beavis and Butthead over here. A couple of rainbow. I don't even know what to call these two over here. Got a teddy bear and a blob dancing. This dude, he's working out on the beach. We got Bending Rodriguez in the background. This chick's doing air guitar for some reason. Oh shit, did I say your name wrong again? God dang it. I think I did. I think I said your name wrong again. I feel like I still don't know how to pronounce your name, even though it's been established multiple times. I feel like people keep telling me different things, and I'm just lost now. I'm glad you like that, though. I'm glad that you like that. Thank you. It's all a work in progress. Oh, and to anybody who didn't hear the announcement, my Patreon was finally approved, so that's all good to go. Just not YouTube's the only thing I'm not monetized on, it would appear. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, yes. I'm doing my job. Where? Yes, there it is. Okay. This one was from 14 hours ago, which is more recent than the other video we watched about this, so it has a lot more detail. This is a Al Jazeera video entitled "Cold-Blooded Massacre: Israeli Forces Kill Over 104 Aid Seekers in Gaza." So yeah, we're sticking with Gaza. Next.
We begin in Gaza City this hour, where the Israeli military has killed at least 104 Palestinians. Nearly 700 people have also been injured, dozens of them in critical condition. Thursday's attack has been described as a massacre of civilians. Hundreds of starving Palestinians had gathered to collect food aid when they were attacked. Israel's army says its soldiers were forced to open fire because they felt threatened by the crowds. Michael Apple explains how it all unfolded.
In the early hours of the morning, thousands of people flocked to Al Rashid Road, southwest of Gaza City, desperate for aid. Aerial footage released by the Israeli military shows crowds gathering around what looks...
I got distracted by something that was said in chat. Is that possible, Morbius? You gifted yourself 3 gift memberships in 2 days? I didn't even know you could do it once. But that seems statistically near impossible. There must be something wrong going on there, I feel like. I had no idea you could do that. Did they run out of people to give memberships? Because that seems impossible. There must be... All these channels have way more subscribers, at least in terms of like YouTube numbers, have way more subscribers than they have paid members. Same thing for Twitch. It's even worse on Twitch, I feel like. Although Amazon Prime does help to some degree, but it's only 1 sub a month. So you really have to make that decision. Which is why I decided to set up the Patreon, so people didn't have to decide. Especially because I'm not multi-streaming anymore. Morbius deserved those gifts. It's so true, but he deserved them from somebody else. Not from himself. He deserved it from one of us. Because he's given out so many. I've seen it. I've seen it before.
Like several aid trucks.
Whoops, I gotta go back. I gotta go back.
Apple is a massacre of civilians. Hundreds of starving Palestinians had gathered to collect food aid when they were attacked. Israel's army says its soldiers were forced to open fire because they felt threatened by the crowds. Michael Apple explains how it all unfolded.
In the early hours of the morning, thousands of people flocked to Al Rashid Road, southwest of Gaza City, desperate for aid. Aerial footage released by the Israeli military shows crowds...
I think I must have missed that. After the focus switched to just super chats and stuff like that, I decided to start streaming at that point. Figured they'd wrap it up at some point after that, so... I did not see that happen, but that's hilarious.
Gathering around what looks like several aid trucks.
It's also sad. It's also sad. I feel like it defeats the purpose slightly. Not that it's bad, but I think you guys get what I mean.
By the time the sun rose, the extent of what happened was clear. The dead and the dying lying side by side, gunned down by Israeli fire.
The Israelis just opened random fire on us, as if it was a trap. Once we approached the aid trucks, the Israeli tanks and warplanes started firing on us. If this continues like this, we do not want any aid delivered at all. Every convoy coming means another massacre.
Instead of aid, they've come away with the dead.
This is
By
horrifying.
donkey cart, car, and makeshift stretchers, the wounded are taken to nearby hospitals.
This is really, really difficult to watch. Like, I thought this would be done already, to be perfectly honest. I did not think it would go to this length and that we'd be here with basically Israel being at The Hague, even though they've decided to boycott The Hague like some sort of, what do you call it? rogue state, right? Who boycotts that, essentially, because that's what they've done. They boycotted the UN Criminal Court and all this other stuff, and it's like that's what like people do when they're committing genocide. I'm trying to think of who else has done stuff like that, but it's crazy. Good to see you too. Good to see you too. Corduroy pillows, interesting. I feel like that would leave your face a little striped, a little stripy.
Which are over.
Yeah, just gonna continue watching this.
Overwhelmed and barely functioning.
This is exactly what we have been warning about. The hospital.
Like, it's also very difficult to find a good place to pause it in these videos, because it's like, which atrocity do you pause it on? Like, which one's the least offensive to the eye? Because I also just don't want, I don't know, like, I don't want to subject you all to anything that's too graphic over, you know, too long a period of time. It just seems wrong. But this whole thing, it just feels like a, sometimes it just feels like I'm watching a snuff film. It's disgusting.
Out of service amid this massive influx of patients. We are operating on batteries. Most of our victims are in critical condition, which requires urgent surgical intervention. But the hospital is without operating rooms. I stand helpless. We are simply administering first aid treatment only.
The Israeli military says its forces opened fire when troops felt threatened, while a spokesperson for the Israeli government says Palestinian drivers plowed into the crowds when the trucks were overwhelmed, but neither has provided evidence. One of the survivors says bodies are still lying on the streets where they were gunned down.
As soon as the aid trucks entered, the Israelis started shelling and shooting everyone who was on the road. They opened fire randomly, killing innocent men and women in cold blood. There was gunfire, snipers shooting, tanks shelling, and drones.
Palestinians are left with few options: starve to death slowly, or risk losing their lives collecting aid. Mike Lappel, Al Jazeera.
As some of the people injured in the attack were taken to Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City, this is the scene that staff member Dr. Jadala Al-Shafei described to us.
There are really no words to describe the situation. It reminds us of the dark scenes from the Baptist hospital 4 months ago, where 500 people were killed in one Israeli airstrike. Since the early hours of the morning, the hospital has been flooded with dozens of dead bodies and hundreds of injured. The majority of the victims suffered gunshot wounds and shrapnel in the head and upper parts of their bodies. They were hit by direct artillery shelling, drone missiles, and gunfire. All our operation rooms are full, and all medical staff have been deployed. Above all, we ran out of medical supplies and fuel necessary to operate the hospital. We hope we will be able to provide any life-saving procedures to those victims. All victims are in critical condition. They're lying on the floor. We stand helpless amid the sharp shortage of supplies and staff.
Tariq Abu Azoum is in Rafah, southern Gaza for us. Tariq, you've been gathering information on this along with our Al Jazeera team. What more can you tell us about this?
Yes, sir, it was a very shocking and distressing event today where thousands of Palestinians who are completely desperate in northern Gaza have been waiting, as usual, every day for more flow of the humanitarian supplies and humanitarian trucks to get to the northern parts of Gaza. Now, those people had been mostly targeted by the Israeli forces in previous occasions, but today it's considered to be one of the bloodiest attacks where we have been seeing and hearing more.
Man, these videos give me this feeling inside that is just so uneasy. It's so terrifying to watch this happen.
Shocking news about more than 100 Palestinians being killed, as we have been seeing also videos emerging from the location showing an intense Israeli shooting against those people who were gathering waiting for humanitarian supplies. The majority of them did not manage to return.
Like, and by terrifying, I mean, like, it's what I mean by that is just to be clear that, like, to imagine myself in their shoes in this moment, to be like, fuck the bombs and the guns, and we see what happens. I think we're gonna see what happens live, and that's even more terrifying. I'm not even sure I'm ready for that because I haven't watched this whole fucking video. But like, and then just be like, screw it, we just need food, or we're gonna die anyway. So, and then my whole family is gonna die, and it's just
back with anything, they return empty-handed, as those people are completely have nothing to survive.
Oh, my dog is telling me that this is a bad one. Okay, okay, good to know.
In the light of the ongoing Israeli bombardment that impose a significant restriction on aid delivery, but at the same time, the WFP had suspended its operations and aid deliveries to the north for the same reasons, the collapse in security. And this is what Palestinians today have been witnessing. They were completely disarmed. They have exposed to the Israeli fire, and some of them, they just wanted to get humanitarian assistance to return
Wait, what's happening?
to their families with something in their hands.
Wait, you two got married? Morbius and Good for Gabby got married? What? Is that a joke or is that real? Is that a real thing? Because if so, congratulations. And even if not, congratulations. But, you know, about 60% less serious. That's very interesting, though. I feel like I'm taking you too seriously for this, and it has a vibe of a joke.
Defeat them, and it's specifically that within this immense number.
Morbius is too good for you. Okay, so this is a joke. Okay, okay. It was still funny though. I liked it. I liked it. If anybody wants to have weddings, I will create a galactic chapel to marry them on stream. I will do it. I am not licensed in any way to do so, but I will do it.
Of casualties and people being killed, it was another load on the capacity of hospitals that are severely and barely operating right now, just only providing primitive care there. And this is absolutely terrifying for them.
Tariq, thank you very much for that reporting. I know you and the rest of our Al Jazeera team in Gaza are working hard to try and gather as much information as we can about today's pre-dawn attack on these Palestinians who are lining up for aid in northern Gaza. Thank you very much, Tariq. Let's bring in Zain Basravi. Zain, you're in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank, so we're trying to build as complete of a picture as we can about what happened this morning. What are you learning on your end?
Well, the aerial footage that the Israeli military has released appears to show massive crowds swarming the few aid trucks that are able to deliver any kind of help to the besieged population.
Imagine knowing what you're about to do, because those people aren't armed. Did you see a single person there carrying a weapon? No. What you saw were about 5,000, maybe less, Palestinian civilians getting food. How do you justify attacking that convoy? And why do we even have the video already? That's crazy, because that's usually Israel's trying to not tell on itself with all this kind of stuff and not providing any evidence for anything. So this is very interesting.
The Israelis have...
Is marriage ever real? It's a good question. At least a galactic marriage would be as real as however you want to perceive it yourself. And good for Gabby, you're as good. You're the best goods, okay? So don't be calling yourself damaged goods. You're great goods. The greatest goods, I swear to God. I don't know if I've never had any experience with the subject that seems awful. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of good questions and comments going on in chat. I appreciate all of you.
Out as a potentially reasonable excuse for why they felt threatened. The crowds were chaotic and out of control. They felt they had to open fire to protect their soldiers. But instead of being a reasonable excuse, what Palestinians are seeing is really an indictment of Israeli choices inside Gaza. The chaos has stemmed from Israel blocking any sort of reasonable international aid response, blocking groups, making it more difficult for UN bodies to carry out their work. This chaos is a result of what they have done for the past 5 months, which is dismantle a society, dismantle services, urban centers in a land area half the size of New York, twice the size of Washington, D.C. To that point, the Biden administration, the U.S. White House, has actually asked the Israelis to stop targeting members of the Hamas-run civilian police force who escort these aid trucks inside Gaza.
Oh, now we're going to tell them, okay, hey, no, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. And hopefully they listen to us. But I suppose it's easy not to listen to somebody when they continue to just give you money anyways. And yeah.
Because they were warning of a, quote, total breakdown of law and order. And that is largely what we're seeing here. And to suggest that the Israelis had no choice, they were trying to protect themselves, Palestinians say, adds insult to injury. And just to get a sense of how bad the situation is, 576,000 people in Gaza are near famine. These are UN statistics. 2.3 million people are relying on woefully inadequate food aid. And Oxfam has just put out a statement saying it is appalled by the reports of killing people in Gaza waiting for food aid. They say Israel's actions were deliberate, targeting civilians, and a gross violation of international humanitarian law and humanity.
Yeah, yeah, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. Okay, okay. So, oh shit. I was editing scenes so I could show you this. Since I keep giving you guys sneak peeks of stuff that I'm working on, here's another sneak peek of the outside of the Galactic UN. Okay, okay, okay. I just realized I don't have a mic on that scene, so I can't even talk to you, so. Alright, what's next? Oh, this is disgusting. Good, 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 good. That's great. I only have so much strength. Yeah, I still have some editing to do to that one for sure. It's not a final draft at all, but just figured I'd show you. What was I doing? Oh yeah. Catch a dude. Why? My list is getting too long over here. Okay, this is a disgusting video showing Israeli protesters blocking aid to Gaza amid famine at the Kerem Shalom crossing. And while we've seen some slightly optimistic videos of Orthodox Jewish Israelis protesting, these people are doing the exact opposite. A weed whacker for Morbius, and a washer and a dryer for you. Okay, yeah, we'll put those on the list. We'll put those on the list. Oh, it's so gross. Imagine being a person protesting people that are starving from getting food. This is zero humanity left in a person like that. And you hope that they can come back around from it, but it's just so gross to see. Morbius got cold feet. It's funny. Is this AI generated? Some of it is, some of it isn't. It's a blend of stuff. Okay. Well, thankfully there weren't too many people out there protesting it, and hopefully that all just goes through. That was from only 4 hours ago that was posted by Middle East Eye. They've been very good at getting stuff out. So if you're not already, do follow them. You want a motorcycle and a weed whacker. Okay, Morbius. Okay. Wait, what is Wireless Mike saying? No way to. Yeah, how can you manage to lay down at night and feel okay with yourself after protesting food? It's a great question. It's a great question.
I do warn our viewers in this piece some of what you may
So,
see.
okay, just for context for you guys, the reason I'm doing this in this way, because I know we just watched a video about this. I just wanted to provide context for how it's being covered between the two different sort of, if you want to call it, Western and Eastern media sphere. So we're going to watch a video from CNN on the exact same stuff we just watched. So sorry about the kind of similar content, but you know, they've been so bad. I just feel like we got to watch them at every moment now. It genuinely feels like CNN has gone right wing recently in an attempt. Same thing for MSNBC. Not that, I mean, the thing is like, a lot of these people hire right wingers to say stuff that's centrist so that it sounds based, but it's terrible and gross. People like Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe. He's a former like Republican congressman or president or congressional candidate. I don't know. But you know what I mean. Morbius Dragon will never get cold feet. Okay. This is good to know.
Around 4 in the morning, thousands of Palestinians are already camped out by the coastal road in western Gaza City. Humanitarian aid trucks are reportedly en route, a rarity in northern Gaza, where hundreds of thousands are now on the brink of famine. As the convoy passes an Israeli military checkpoint and enters Gaza City, hundreds desperate for food swarm the trucks, as seen in this drone video released by the Israeli military. Many climb onto the trucks, grabbing what they can, when suddenly the Israeli military opens fire, killing and wounding about 20 people in the crowd, according to local journalist Khader al-Zanoun, who was on the scene. Pandemonium ensues. As people run away, eyewitnesses say the truck drivers speed off, killing dozens more people. The Palestinian Ministry of Health says at least 104 people were killed altogether and more than 700 injured. CNN is unable to independently confirm those numbers. The Israeli military acknowledges its troops shot people near the convoy, but says the gunfire was unrelated and came after people were already killed in a stampede.
In a second event, in a short distance away, we also had a group of people that approached the military forces in a war zone. The forces opened fire in the air to distance them, warning fire, in order to get people out of harm's way. Unfortunately, they proceeded to...
Oh my god, shut the fuck up. Hold on, that's ridiculous. I was about to say some good stuff a second ago. We gotta back it up, because I didn't even notice who was talking a second ago. But I was actually relatively pleased with CNN's coverage up to this point. I was shocked to see that they were being as like explicit about stuff and showing as much footage as they just did. I was expecting them just to like glaze over a bunch of things, but that was pretty clear what was going on. So, all right, good job, CNN. Up until about now, right
700 injured. CNN is unable to independently confirm those numbers. The Israeli military acknowledges its troops shot people near the convoy, but says the gunfire was unrelated and came after people were already killed in a stampede.
In a second event, in a short distance away, we also had a group of people that approached the military forces in a war zone. The forces opened fire in the air to distance them, warning fire, in order to get people out of harm's way. Unfortunately, they proceeded to advance, and indeed they're a perceived threat, and the forces opened fire. Of course, I will say we're continuing to...
I'm like, Jesus, I say that.
Oh my god. You saw this earlier, Wireless Mike. He's a lying piece of shit. He's been lying for months and months and months on international television, repeatedly lying, and just basically parroting Israeli, what's it called? Hasbara. Is that what it's called? No, maybe that's what, I think there's another word for it. It just, talking points, and it's garbage. Coverage includes what's being said by the aggressor. They always report on the... Yeah. Yep. Yep, they report on the crazy shit that only certain people say. And that other people get a pass. Other people get a pass. If you or your family hadn't had food for weeks, you would run to the trucks too. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Continuing to inquire in our after actions activities.
That account contradicted by eyewitnesses who say Israeli gunfire triggered the mass panic.
Our children die of hunger. They went to get a bag of flour in order to feed their children. Some were run over, others were shot, so they send us the aid so that the Israelis can keep shooting at our children. This is wrong. This is not right. This is not right.
The latest victims killed on a day when the death toll in Gaza surpassed 30,000, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, the majority of whom are women and children.
Thing is, I was done watching people die way, way back. way, way back. I mean, in almost no time at all. Like, it was almost impossible not to. Like, I think it took less than a month for the death toll to rise over 10,000, and I was at that point just like, wow. I mean, that was not proportional in any way. If you could gift on here, you would gift to Gappy immediately. Well, I'm sorry, you can't gift on here. That's my fault. I have to be better at making content and pushing it out. I've just been struggling to actually edit all my stuff because I've been streaming so much. It's kind of a catch-22, if you will.
More may soon die of starvation, as the World Food Program warns that more than 500,000 Gazans are on the brink of famine.
Yeah, if you haven't already, join the Discord community. I'm going to be making it live as an actual Discord community, like legit, very soon. It's mostly functional up to this point. Make sure to accept the rules after joining, otherwise you won't get access to any of the channels. Yeah. We can all discuss things.
We are talking about a man-made famine, because we have a kind of a total blockage for the people who are living in the north. There is not even enough of animal food, animal fodder, for people to eat or to do bread with animal fodder.
That desperation brought Tamer Atta al-Shimbari to that coastal road early Thursday morning.
He went to get a bit of bread, a bag of flour for his family, displaced at the schools in Jabalia camp.
Now he lies dead, killed while trying to survive.
And Aaron, the critical backdrop to all of this, of course, are those ongoing negotiations to secure a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. And make no mistake, that ceasefire clearly is more essential than ever in order to get that humanitarian aid into Gaza. It is because so few humanitarian aid trucks have been able to make their way into northern Gaza that we saw this situation unfold the way it did. But this incident today, as much as it highlights that need, it also could impact those negotiations. And President Biden tonight saying that he believes that it will complicate those negotiations going forward. Aaron.
Jeremy, thank you very much. Live from Tel Aviv. And out front now, the Democratic Congressman Tom Suozzi of New York. This is his first national TV interview since he was sworn in to replace the disgraced Republican Congressman George Santos. Congressman, a lot to speak with you about tonight, and thank you so much for being here in your, of course, home state. You call yourself an unequivocal supporter of Israel. Obviously, that's a hard report to watch as we try to understand what happened. More than 100 people killed today at that humanitarian site. A guy going to get flour, and he's dead. When you see that, does that give you pause in support for what Israel's doing?
Well, I'm going to always remain unequivocally supportive of Israel. Of course, you'd have to be inhuman to not see pictures like that and not be moved by it. There's tremendous suffering going on. I went to Israel in December and went to Gaza, went to the Gaza envelope and saw the attacks on the kibbutzes. I saw so much carnage. It was awful. I think everybody would love to see a ceasefire. Hamas should surrender their weapons, release the hostages, and we can try and talk about a path forward. We need to have some sort of negotiated settlement whereby we know that Hamas is disarmed. Hamas is not some loose confederation of desert soldiers. They are a sophisticated, disciplined terror army whose mission is to destroy Israel and kill Jews. That's their mission.
So, you know, sources tell CNN, and I've heard from people who have, you know, seen this. President Biden's very frustrated with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and how he's choosing to handle this right now. He feels that Netanyahu's been ignoring him and obstructing humanitarian efforts in Gaza. And Biden is actually let some of that frustration.
I did not realize that I was muted. Hold on. I gotta pause this crap.
Over the top.
Sorry, chat. No, I wasn't leaving this unquestioned. I was talking. Thankfully, my dogs noticed. Ew. Okay. What did I even say just now? Okay, yeah, so that pissed me off. But thank you for telling me, otherwise I would have gone without noticing. There is a stark difference between this CNN piece and the one we watched previously from Al Jazeera. I mean, you noticed that we had a IDF military officer first. Now we got Tom Suozzi, who is a ardent Israel supporter, to talk. And just because that completely threw off my train of thought, I'm going to have to back this up 30 seconds. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I was very muted. Wireless mic.
You know, seeing this, President Biden's very frustrated with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and how he's choosing to handle this right now. He feels that Netanyahu's been ignoring him and obstructing humanitarian efforts in Gaza. And Biden has actually let some of that frustration, Congressman, show in public, saying that the actions of Israel are over the top, in his words, and he also said this.
There are a lot of innocent people who are starving, a lot of innocent people who are in trouble and dying, and it's got to stop.
Netanyahu so far does not appear to be heeding that. Is there more Biden needs to do?
I think that the president is working really more behind the scenes to try and build a coalition with the Sunni Arab states so that the Sunni Arab states and Israel and the Western world can work together as a bulwark against Iran to not only rebuild Gaza, but to prevent Iran from continuing its malicious activities.
Who's going to pay for that rebuild? Huh? Any ideas? Why is Iran being thrown into this situation right now? Did they blow up Gaza?
Throughout the world, really, not just the region, but throughout the world. You know, this is really hard stuff. It's painful. It's difficult. It's awful. But we can't forget that it was precipitated by going in and killing a bunch of innocent people in gruesome ways. And, you know, Hamas, I did a bill back in 2018, a bipartisan bill with a guy named Mike Gallagher, who's now leaving Congress, unfortunately, a very talented Republican, called the Human Shields Act, where Hamas literally uses civilians to protect their armaments, to protect their troops.
Yeah. So, all right, you mentioned Gallagher, and that
I think we've heard enough from them. What a joke. All right. I need a momentary break, folks, so I'll be right back. And I think because it's all been so difficult, let's just chill. Let's just chill for a second and try and relax. Alright, chat. I am back. Sorry for the delay. Hope you enjoyed your hangout by the Galactic Pool. And don't forget that if you subscribe to my Patreon, you can get an emote or your picture added to this beautiful graphic. back to the serious stuff.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you. I almost forgot. No taxes in the Ice Age. Get out of the pool. I'm out of the pool. I'm drying off. Getting myself back to it. Don't you worry. Just getting my place back. A bunch of stuff to cover still, somehow. Some of it just breaking. Alright, we are... Have we done it? Oh, no. We haven't done it. I thought we'd done it. So close. So close. So close to me able to look away for 2 seconds. It's gonna be so good. Okay. Take it all back. Take it all back. We're not done with Israel. Still 3 more Israel videos to get through, folks. It's a fact. Too much tragedy happening in that one part of the world for us to look away quite yet.
Lieutenant Colonel, eyewitnesses say that more than 100 Palestinians died when Israeli soldiers fired on numerous occasions into a crowd. Do you take responsibility for those deaths?
No, of course not, because those claims are blatantly lies. The IDF conducted a humanitarian operation this morning in order to assist and facilitate the movement of food supplies, as we have been doing over the last 4 days, in a similar manner. The supplies went in, passed through our positions, and then continued to move forward, where a mob stormed the convoy, bringing it to at some stage to a halt. But in the state of chaos on the site, people were being pushed, trampled, and in some cases run over.
When you say a mob, do you mean starving people who have been deprived of food because you haven't let the aid in? The UN officials told us that no aid has been allowed into northern Gaza for more than a month.
The UN obviously aren't up to date on their information. The last 4 days, convoys like we conducted this morning. This morning was 38 truckloads passed into northern Gaza to distribute food supplies, which are international donations, but on private vehicles that were conducting the convoy into northern Gaza.
Well,
so
multiple agencies say some aid is going in, but not nearly enough. And you spoke of a mob. I want to put to you what Save the Children said. They said, while children die from lack of food, their parents are killed trying to get it for them. That's the reality, isn't it? These are starving people, desperate for anything they can get their hands on.
Kathy, the incident on the convoy this morning was nothing to do with Israel.
Wait, what?
Secured the convoy.
It had nothing to do with Israel?
And it got out of hand on the ground as people were losing
out of hand?
trucks.
What do these things mean?
Your troops fired shots.
Yeah.
There were warning shots fired.
Warning
shots. When it
shots.
got out of hand, the forces retreated back into the formation along the
and massacred a bunch of people?
Area. That was not true. That is just a blatant lie. That is absolutely inaccurate.
Gross. Super gross. That was even worse than a CNN thing. Or actually, I think they might have clipped part of that. Now that I'm thinking back to it, I think they may have clipped it. Sorry, I gave you no context for that video, but it was entitled "Israel's Changing Narrative on Gaza." Or wait, is that the same video? Wait, hold on. Maybe I'm wrong. What was that one entitled? Did I just play them out of order? Oh, shit. Son of a... Hold on. I have to do something to fix something. Might as well read chats. What are you saying over here? Oh, well, I am pleased to be a place for all of you, either sleepless or lonely or in different time zone leftists. I feel like the Galactic Stream Nation is hopefully the place for all of you. We intend to be an inclusive place here. Good to see you, Snixabea. Good to see you. Actually, I was wrong. That video was entitled Israeli Military Spokesperson Denies Responsibility. This one is named Israel's Changing Narrative on Gaza. I was thrown off because they're both by Middle East Eye, and they both were released about an hour ago, or recently. Hold on, I'm going to back it up so we can see it, because it's also just stuff I have to read. It says Israeli forces opened fire on Palestinian civilians gathering around aid trucks in northern Gaza on Thursday. At least 104 Palestinians were killed and more than 700 were injured. At first, Israel denied shooting at civilians, but changed their narrative of the events within the day.
Initially, it was that there was a stampede that caused loads of people to die. Then there was a suggestion that a truck had actually, driven by a civilian driver, had mown down a load of the Palestinians. Then there was a suggestion that actually this was potentially Hamas stealing the aid.
How many times? Honestly, I feel like it feels like the parable of the boy who cried wolf with Israel and Hamas. Israel keeps crying Hamas, and it turns out it's worse. It turns out it's worse than the parable of that, because the kid didn't do anything. He was just, stupid. They're the wolf. It's Israel's crying wolf, but they're the wolf. You may fall asleep on your wedding night. There will be no touching. Okay, Morbius. Keeping it very clear in chat where his lines are drawn. I see that. Oh, shit. Shit. Oh, I didn't even notice. I had my volume down because I was trying to make vibe with the music earlier, and I fucked up.
That actually this was potentially Hamas stealing the aid.
Better chat? One's in chat if it's better. Well,
but they did.
Oh, we're not gonna go past that quickly. It's important to have boundaries. Exactly, my dogs. My sentiment exactly. This is a tweet from the Likud, the terrorist Likud party, prime minister, well, not prime minister, but government minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, who said, total support must be given to our heroic fighters operating in Gaza, who acted excellently against a Gazan mob that tried to harm them. Today it was proven that the transfer of humanitarian aid to Gaza is not only madness, while our abductees are being held in the Strip under Strip is capitalized for some reason under substandard conditions, but also endangers the IDF soldiers. This is another clear reason why we must stop transferring this aid, which is in fact aid to harm the IDF soldiers and oxygen to Hamas. This dude is super gross. Hey, look at that. Nice. Very nice. A lot of ones in chat. 1 4 20 69. Okay.
But they did open fire and people were killed. So I'm completely confused by what you're saying, because they admitted, the IDF spokesman said it on our air, that they opened fire.
That's a separate incident.
Okay.
Not connected to the tragedy with the trucks. We are not aware that the IDF fired caused casualties at all.
Uh-oh, folks. I just heard the Galactic Police go by. Okay, I don't think they're here for me.
Mr. Secretary, about how many Palestinian women and children?
Although I don't think I need to read the title of this video, but I will tell you this is, I think, no, this is another Middle East Eye video. I think I watch these every single stream now because they just have such good videos on this situation.
Mr. Secretary,
this is the U.S. Defense Secretary.
about how many Palestinian women and children have been killed by Israel since October 7th?
It's over 25,000.
Mr. Secretary,
Last week, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights warned that any transfer of weapon or ammunition to Israel violates international law. About how many precision-guided munitions has the United States given Israel since the beginning of the war?
I don't have that number at my fingertips, but we have endeavored.
Mr. Zaid, it's about 21,000 precision-guided munitions to Israel since the start of the war. Secretary Austin, last week you spoke to Defense Minister Gallant, and you said clearly there needs to be a plan to ensure the safety and support of those sheltering in Rafah before any military operations proceed. National Security Advisor Sullivan has said he has not seen any plan yet. John Kirby said it would be a disaster to invade Rafah. If Netanyahu defies the United States and invades Rafah, will you commit today that you will halt any future military sales to Israel?
Great question.
Obviously, sir, that's a presidential decision, but you know, we expect.
Oh wow, putting it on Joe Biden.
And by
huh?
the way, I spoke to Minister Gallant last night.
Well, you heard it, folks. You heard it directly from the Secretary of Defense. That's on Joe Biden whether or not we give them aid.
That when we provide munitions to allies and partners, that they'll use them in a responsible way.
John Kirby said that Israel is taking more precautions than the U.S. military would to protect civilian life. Mr. Austin, Secretary Austin, isn't that statement inaccurate given Israel has used hundreds of 22,000-pound dumb bombs when there were no place for civilians to go? Would the U.S. government ever target terrorists with 2,000-pound bombs in a densely populated area?
Well, I mean, it depends on the situation, and again.
But have we done that? Use 45% of bombs that are unguided or a 2,000-pound bomb? I mean, do you really think that the Israeli government military is taking more precautions than the United States military would?
I think.
Jesus.
You know, just based upon the results in terms of the significant loss of life.
Gentleman's time has expired, Chair, and I recognize the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Gallagher.
And it should be done.
Okay. Morbius hasn't gotten enough sleep and is now just rambling into chat. Love you, Morbius. Good to have you all here. I wasn't joking about that either. We can get you. I think you're both in the Discord now. Get you in Discord chat. You know, I'll put up the Galactic Chapel in the background, and we'll officially marry you if that's what is both of your wishes. But it just seems like it's a running joke at this point, and I'm willing to just be on board with that until it fizzles out. What is this next one? Is this definitely my next one? Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, this is from 4 hours ago. This is an AP report entitled Venezuela's ruling party rallies for support ahead of election. Oh, I forgot to read it. Sorry, folks. I didn't realize that I had a duty to perform. I was reading something else. Venezuelan ruling party rallies for support. The Venezuelan ruling Socialist Party has closed Caracas's main highway for thousands of supporters to march and protest against U.S. imperialism. The anti-imperialist declaration was made 20 years ago by the late President Hugo Chavez. The rally comes as President Nicolas Maduro is touring the country to be with supporters ahead of this year's presidential elections. Let the owners of the circus of the extreme right know it. A world of the wise is a word to the wise. And this is just warming up the arm. We are just warming up the arm.
para las batallas que vienen.
Venezuela's government has announced a proposal on the election timing, suggesting that more than 20 potential dates ranging from April to December. The proposal will be presented to Venezuela's governing party Loyal National Electoral Council, whose members will choose the date. Okay.
The bill.
Pause. Oh shit. Was that on small screen the whole time? That was, wasn't it? I screwed up. Sorry, chat. Wow, that was me failing F's in chat. Good God. You want to dress up like Darth Vader? We can make that happen. We can make that happen super easy. In fact, I've been considering doing some funny stuff like that for people such as yourselves who are so active in chat and everything like that. Like, I also was thinking of doing, and it was funny, it was actually brought up at left past 10, but I've been wanting to do some sort of a PNG tuber style TV show or something like that, just for funsies, or at least skits, things like that. I don't know, even maybe a game show, on Saturdays or something random like that. I'm just thinking out loud, just to keep things fun from time to time. Okay, this next one is a rally that was just held in Brooklyn to protest the closing of long-standing hospitals. So we're coming back to America. Got through everything, but I found some stuff while we were streaming that I wanted to look at. I haven't seen it yet, so we'll watch it together. What's my favorite part of the ship's computer? The space bar. It's amazing. Go web, go.
Is crumbling and it's operating on a deficit, but it didn't stop hundreds from turning out today in Brooklyn to try to prevent a beloved neighborhood hospital from shutting down. So what now for SUNY Downstate Medical Center in Prospect Lefferts Gardens? With the story.
It's disgusting. We got 16 seconds, chat. We did it. We did it. We solved it. Okay. But seriously, 16 seconds in, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is what happens. This is what happens when we commodify healthcare and we allow corporations to govern our health, and people, communities where these things are needed, lose their infrastructure. Things like hospitals count as infrastructure in my mind, and that is insane. All right, we're gonna continue. Go up, go.
Here's Eyewitness News reporter Lauren Glassberg.
I had a kidney transplant 16 years ago. It makes me emotional.
You like that idea, Morbius? You know what? That's good. Coming from you, I like that, because you're in every chat everywhere. So the thing is, I'm just trying to break the mold of everything and make it more, make the worst stuff slightly more fun for us. I don't know how well I'm doing, but I'm giving it a shot.
In the Ice Age, how much taxes did people pay?
All right, let's continue.
For Denise John, Downstate Medical Center was a lifeline, as it is for many Brooklyn residents. But now the state and SUNY plan to shut it down.
Save Downstate!
Today, a rally outside the hospital to get the governor to reverse course.
If she embraces this plan to close this place of healing, she will be locking out black mothers and black babies, and that is wrong.
But according to the state, Downstate is operating with a $100 million deficit, and it would cost $4 billion to repair the crumbling facility. Instead, the state plans to open a Downstate wing with Downstate staff across the street at Kings County Hospital, providing 150 beds, less than half of what Downstate currently holds. Plus, the state would provide $300 million to build a new outpatient facility. But many say the level of care will suffer.
We suffer from hypertension and diabetes and heart disease and kidney failure. That's not enough for y'all.
Exactly.
What more do we have to give?
Downstate employees also fear losing their jobs.
I've been at Downstate for 24 years, and I don't want to lose my job. I would like to stay here. I would like to serve this community.
And students at the med school worry about the quality of training they'll receive without a proper hospital.
We even have patients that come in and talk to us about their conditions so that we can learn from them, learning deeper than just in a textbook. So I mean, of course, it's going to impact us.
As for Denise, Downstate isn't just where she got that new kidney. It's also where she works.
Now I work in kidney transplant, so I'm part of the team that helped me and can help so many others like me. So this hospital needs to stay.
Now, Suni says that kidney...
Here. Okay, I think that's... Well, actually, we'll finish it, but I just want to say love all of you in chat here, and appreciate all the kind words. And the Raptors, I see that was the work of, wait, who was it that called out for Raptors? Was it Optics? Yeah, obviously Optics. Good to see you, by the way. Thank you for the Raptors.
Transplant program, the only one of its kind in Brooklyn, will continue, and it also says that most hospital employees will retain their jobs. The timeline for all of this isn't clear, and it's also not clear whether there are any other viable options. Lauren Glassberg, Channel 7.
Okay, cool. That's good that they are fighting against that. Hopefully it's not closed, but good God, I don't see. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what
Taking to the streets
would
around
stop
Manhattan
it.
tonight. This after a deadly.
But yeah, you know, my hopes are with their cause, and fingers crossed. Everybody, knock on wood somewhere. Got some wood on my desk. Okay. Okay, yeah, this next video is bringing us back to the protest that was we watched a part of earlier from Status Quo News happening in Manhattan. This is down in the subway, or at least this what you're looking at. Well, you're not really looking at it, are you? Hold on. I gotta stop doing this, chat. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So I believe this is in the subway somewhere in Manhattan, and we didn't watch the whole video, and maybe we'll go back and watch a little bit more here in a second after we watch this. But apparently there were people that were arrested that were at that protest, so we're gonna watch this video, which came out 45 minutes ago.
Taking to the streets around Manhattan tonight. This after a deadly attack in the Middle East that is raising all sorts of questions. Palestinian supporters gathering in Union Square and then crowded into the subway station where they made their way to Lower Manhattan. There were some clashes with New York cops, and there were some arrests. Now to those...
Wow, that was the world's shortest video. 22 seconds. My God, that's short. Holy shit. Okay, we're definitely going to go back right now. Full circle, everybody. Full fucking circle on this one. It happened while we were looking at other stuff. And now we're going to find out if Status Quo happened to get some really good footage of that. I'll bet they did. Once again, if you're not already subscribed to their channel, do that on YouTube. I don't know about any of their other socials. I know I'm subscribed, and I give them full credit for this video.
Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down!
Okay, I'm gonna push this forward slightly and kind of search for that RIP Aaron Bushnell sign's kind of hard to see. Seriously though, RIP. That is such a tragedy. Let's watch this.
Free Palestine!
Sorry, chat. I gotta make the volume slightly lower for me so I don't have to mess with my settings on. Okay, there we go.
Guys, we're going into the subway. This is big. They haven't done this yet. I've covered protests in the subway, but not like this. Guys, share this right now. This is big. Palestine will never die. Free, free Palestine.
Be right back, chat.
Move in. Move in. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine
Repeat after me. Repeat after me. Get on this train. Get on this train. Get off. Get off. At Wall Street. At Wall Street. Get off. Get off. At Wall Street. At Wall Street. Shut it down. 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 Shut it down.
My guy, squeeze in.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! From the rib!
Yes, and I am back, chat. Just wanted to find a spot to break it, but figured like a good spot. They at least changed scenery. Felt like a reasonable place to respond some stuff here. Discussions on facial hair. Morbius is going to pay for everything. Okay, okay. This protest from today, yes. Yes, this protest is from today, or from last night. Monop's boyfriend and her actually let astrology get between us. It just tore us apart. That kills me. You're terrible. Tore us apart. You are full of it. Everybody in chat's been full of the jokes today. That was nice. Nice to have a laugh in between some very serious stuff going on here. We're going to watch some more of this, but I am going to search for these arrests that happened. So maybe like another minute or so down here, and then I'm going to start searching.
Free, free Palestine! Let them close the doors. Already on film. From the river to the sea. I'm thinking someone who knows everything. Palestine will be free. USA praise. How many kids did you kill today? Israel bombs. USA praise. How many kids did you kill today? Israel bombs. USA praise. How many kids did you kill today?
That is a great chant. My God. Okay, okay. You know, I'll do this on a different screen. I'm gonna let you all watch while I look.
Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! I can't hear you. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Liberation! And justice liberation! Fighting! Israel is a terrorist state! 1, 2, 3, 4! 1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more! Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8! 5, 6, 7, 8! Israel is a terrorist state! Israel is a terrorist state! Resistance is justified! Resistance is justified! When people are occupied! When people are occupied! Resistance is justified! Resistance is justified! When people are occupied! When people are occupied! Eric Adams, you will see! Eric Adams, you will see! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! Eric Adams, you... Our lifetime! We will free Palestine! We will free Palestine! Within our lifetime! Within our lifetime! Whose street? Our street! 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 Whose street? Our street!
I'm going to fast forward it about 20 minutes here. This is amazing to witness. Yeah, it's about time Americans got out in the streets and started really, truly protesting this thing. I gotta say, it's nice to be able to watch this with all of you in this moment. Feel like as a group we can support ourselves through this. In response to my dog saying that, wait, too many chats coming through. And just think of this as an opportunity for us to, what's it called? Like, for those who are galactically uninclined or unable to be there in New York City doing this in this one moment, together this can be our protest, right? At least for this moment. There's going to be other opportunities hopefully in other places, so do try and keep yourself apprised of those opportunities. Just and or consider organizing opportunities if you can, but at least in this moment, we can all kind of protest here and chat.
Shut it down! Shut it down!
my sentiments exactly. More cowbell. My dogs are goth. Wait, I have to imagine Schwarzenegger saying what word? We're bearing witness together. Exactly. Yeah, here's my question. Can we get more cowbell? No, that wasn't very good walking. I can do better than that. That was bad. Everybody forget that. Cut that. Cut that. Cut that. Okay, I'm just gonna push us forward a little bit here. Where was it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The Assistant Commissioner of the NYPD Charles Daughtry came down to protect Kathy Hochul. We will tell them both. You can't hide. You support genocide.
You support genocide.
How many times you can't hide? You support genocide. You support genocide. Repeat after me. Repeat after me. They are willing to bring out hundreds of cows.
We're going to start making arrests.
Support all of our people.
You're all in the middle of the street. You can't block the street. Find a spot on the sidewalk.
Guys, I don't care what you gotta do. Make sure you share this. Get this over. It's gonna get bad.
Get out of the street right now. We're going to start making arrests.
Where are you indicted? Or are you some corrupt motherfucker?
Get the hell around. Let's follow. Stop playing a wine and that's it.
You're so mad that we say killing is wrong?
Utilizing the sidewalk must ensure that sufficient space is available for use by.
Look at how many they've got here already. What was that, like 30, 40 officers in one space? By the way, I hope that pony in chat hasn't been hanging around any short stack goblins.
Pedestrians. If you unlawfully obstruct pedestrian traffic.
Oh, good night, my dogs. It was good seeing you. Sleep well. Well, at least in this video, from what I can tell, I don't think he has footage of the actual arrests that took place. From what I can tell, I've kind of gone through, I think, most of it. Wait. We're going to go to the very end. Oh, I take it all back. Take it all back. Jesus Christ.
Share this right now. This is fucking insane.
I recognize that voice.
He's a journalist. All right, he's a journalist. They just arrested a journalist. They tackled him. They're assaulting everyone. Guys, get this out there. This is bad.
That's what we're trying to do.
You're the worst gang in the world. You killed more than anybody. You fucking scumbag.
All right, guys. You're up on the sidewalk. Up on the sidewalk. Up on the sidewalk, guys. Go up on the sidewalk. Folks, get up on the sidewalk.
When was this exactly? This was exactly 9 hours ago now. So it started at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Guys, share this.
On the roadway and refuse to use the available sidewalk. You will be subject to arrest.
Morbius Dragon is right. This is bullshit.
Let's go. You are unlawfully walking in the roadway. Doesn't want to get on the sidewalk.
You to go back on the sidewalk now. If you do so,
Get up on the sidewalk.
placed against you. If you remain in the roadway and refuse to use the available sidewalk,
up on the sidewalk, and that's it.
To arrest. This is the New York City Police Department. You are unlawfully walking in the roadway. I am ordering you to go back on the sidewalk now. If you do so voluntarily, no charges will be placed against you. If you remain in the roadway and refuse to use the available sidewalk, you will be subject to arrest.
Guys, get up on the sidewalk.
You need to get on the sidewalk.
They were behaving what caused the scuffle. From what I could tell, nothing. I think someone's feelings just got hurt. I didn't see anybody assault anybody or do anything illegal. So that was, it seemed to me to be unlawful arrest. Gabby seems to be having some struggles over there. I totally am in the same camp with you.
All right, guys, we gotta keep it moving. Gotta keep it moving. Fucking NYPD is out of control, as always. I hope you guys are sharing this. I hope you are sharing these videos. Show how the NYPD is, they are just taking people down. There's a helicopter flying up above.
I want to look away from this video, but now I'm struggling to, chat. Like, I feel like we gotta at least watch a little bit more of this, especially listen to the way that he's talking about us getting it out there. Well, I'm trying right now. Yeah, you lurk over there, Mona. We're gonna wrap up soon. Okay, I'm going to push it forward slightly. It's really good to see that they continue protesting after that. Okay, I think that's enough, hopefully. Once again, if you haven't already, subscribe to Status Coup. You know what? I might save the rest of these videos for tomorrow. I think that's a good enough place for us to end with Gaza and that protest in our mind. Okay, well, I'm actually going to do a few announcements before I wrap up the stream, though. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed what we did today, or at least learned and or felt empowered by this stream in any way. Solidarity is important these days. And yeah, just got a few things to go over that if you haven't seen, we'll show you now. This is the library on the space station, where I'm going to be, from time to time, featuring stuff that is going onto the Patreon, which is now up and running, which you can subscribe to for, currently it's $5 a month. I believe I'm going to run a promotion for everybody who's been hanging out here so diligently. So I think my plan for that is I'm going to do like 6 months for like $1 or something stupid cheap. And then after that, go to $5. I haven't worked it all out yet, but that's kind of the plan. And what you're looking at is the first post that I put onto Patreon there. This is going to be my lake house hangout for all of our fams, and this is the pool, which if we, I think we already talked about on the stream a couple times, but just in case there's people who weren't here for it, Patreon subscribers, as well as once YouTube is up, YouTube and Twitch subscribers will be able to get their emoji or picture of choice within reason onto this scene here, and can hang out by the Galactic Pool with me, Galactic Stream Lord. Morbius won't sign the divorce papers. Okay, that's also announcement worthy for sure. Congrats on your a marriage/annulment divorce from Mo and Noah. Good night to you, Wireless Mike. Good night to all you people. Now, before I end the stream, of course, another difficult day of keeping track of all the atrocities happening in the world. Staring into the abyss of awful. However, we must press on. It's just another day for Galactic Streamlord, coming at you live from the Galactic Space Station. I don't feel like we fixed anything today, but perhaps we will tomorrow. Till I see you next, you stay classy, Galactic Stream Nation.